Hello, this is the LEGO Star Wars The Armorer's Mandalorian Forge from The Mandalorian. The completed set gives you a portion of a room that's built as one thing but can be split into two, and then there are three figures. I'm going to look at these first. The star of this set is the Armorer herself, of course, and then on the right is Paz Vizsla of Clan Vizsla. Yes, that Clan Vizsla. I like the Armorer. I especially like the helmet. I feel like that was important to get right, and I feel like that's a good Legoification of her. You know, Lego minifigs don't have human proportions. Things need to be proportioned differently, and I feel like Lego accomplished that well here. I am a little bit sad that they've only used print and nothing physical for her fur, you know, all around there. It would have been nice to have a piece to show some of that extra bulk of the fur that she wears. The print is done well. I think that the production work is good. The graphic design work there is good. I'm glad that they didn't go super narrow with the waist. This all just feels pretty appropriate to me. But between these two, I much prefer the Paz Vizsla figure, who I also think is a little bit more accurate, captures the essence of the on-screen essence of that character a little bit better. Lots of print for this character. I am good with the sand blue myself. Should there have been a little bit more saturation there? Maybe, but does Lego really have a better color for that? I don't think so. I don't think they have something that would capture that look better. The on-screen look certainly better. And there's so much good printing. I also like the nice part usage. Just two pieces for this multi-barrel style of blaster there, or cannon. And the brick-built backpack, you know. It's supposed to be different. It's supposed to be a little bit more bulky than the style used by the likes of Boba Fett or Din Djarin. And yeah, it's always nice to actually build things up from Lego rather than relying on specialized pieces. Underneath are just black heads, which I'm perfectly fine with because their faces have not been unveiled. So it doesn't, you know, it's best to go with the black so that you don't see weird skin tone on the outside anyway. You can see there more of the print for Paz on the right, and there's a lot more print on the back that we couldn't see before with his jetpack on. And then here is Din Djarin himself, has both the short and long guns, has the full Beskar armor, and has printing on the arms. Both the printing there is not perfect. Printing there, yeah, again, not perfect, maybe a little bit better. Print on the front of the torso, pretty good. Into the hip, into the legs, that's all pretty good. The print for the helmet, though, once again, too low, similar to the last one of these that I got in the previous set. I don't know why it has gotten lower, and it also, to me, just makes it look less like the real thing. The center stripe needs to be narrower, needs to taper towards the bottom, and this is just looking a little bit less accurate. It's not terrible to me, but it could definitely be improved in a future round. It's interesting they went with the gunmetal gray color for the jetpack by comparison. Print on the back of the torso is also pretty good for this figure. I like the layout of what they've done here for the main build for just a small scene. I feel like it displays well. I feel like it takes up a nice shape of space and can fit within a reasonable amount of space. You also get the option to change how it's displayed a little bit if you want to. If you don't want it to be set up just like this, if you want it to take up maybe just a shallower space on a shelf, you can simply detach this over here. Like so. That's very simple and very sensible, so I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to leave it like this for now as we look at some of the details here. I actually don't remember what this device was from the show, if this was the one that smelted down a single ingot, and you can see a single ingot down there. They use the gunmetal gray once again to represent the pattern of the Beskar armor ingot, but I don't remember if this was a single ingot smelter or something that tested what material it actually is. Behind there, up against the wall, we've got this machine with a couple of stickers to represent consoles and input devices. They've got the hologram there that Lego in their own description refers to as a holocron for some reason. Oops. And this is the vault cupboard, which opens up with the traditional tools. You don't see as many of them in there, but This is kind of right, but it would have been nicer to have something physical in there than just the sticker. The sticker feels just a little bit cheap to me. Nice to get the console on the outside though, and all of this can be removed easily. It's intended to be removed easily, or you can kind of create an extra exit there as an escape route, or you can just take the top off and then use these two containers here, which also have things inside of them. On the left is another ingot of Beskar, just the gunmetal gray, and then they also have a thermal detonator tile, just that regular print, and this is a silver colored short blaster. To the right is the main entrance exit with what LEGO refers to, again wrongly, as a mudhorn insignia. It's actually a mythosaur, but they just got that off. You got a broom over here for keeping things tidy in the place. Of course, that's actually pretty important. And over on the right, this is nice. It is a gunmetal gray colored Mandalorian helmet, but with no print on it whatsoever. So it's just a blank thus far. And there's a small anvil. I think that's supposed to represent an anvil for shaping, for putting finer shapes into things. It's also nice to get a little bit of shaping around the side of the place. So you've got the half arch with the kind of lantern or lamp there. Same thing over on this side, it's just not as visible. And around the back, there's not really much to see. At least they don't have terrible colors or anything, but this is not particularly displayable around the side, in spite of the fact that they do give you an additional sticker. The forge itself looks pretty nice to me. I like how that's set up, and I like how they use the trans light blue colored candle pieces. Let me take this crucible out and the tool for handling it. That's just a nice little central area there with the extra fire. The flames don't come up as tall as they actually do on the show, but I'm fine with that. I think that looks really nice. The inclusion of these, let me detach this again. The inclusion of these stickers around the outside feels a little bit mean. They're a little bit difficult, especially for people who are not very used to applying stickers just in general. These are not that easy to line up, and it's definitely easy to get them wrong, even if you do have experience. I appreciate all the clips around the outside to attach additional tools to. That totally makes sense to me. Just a small desk over here, and or a table, and you can seat a couple of figures there as well. This hood up above is a little bit stingy. It could have been nicer. You can angle this forward and back. You can also change the angles of these little veins on the side. But there's one thing that really bugs me about this. It's the fact that the hood is not directly above the flame itself. So you can kind of cheat that this way by angling it forward. So you see that a little bit less. You can probably change the angles of these little veins towards the front versus the ones at the back to reduce the appearance of that difference. But still, when you build this, you put it on there, it's like, wait, that doesn't line up. Wait, what? Just a little nitpick that really did bother me, though. You can also just rotate all of this out of the way entirely for what it's worth. I don't know if that provides any value to you, but it is what it is. I think it's fine to have it built the way that it is, because you're not going to have this connected from above. Just like with Darth Vader's meditation chamber, you're not able to connect to things above. So having that little arm there is fine. The blue doesn't bother me too much with the Technic pieces. In this case, of course, gray would be better, but overall, I'm happy with this. It just bugged me a little bit that this is offset. Oh yeah, and the crucible, it's like a crucible on a stick. So you can just kind of line that up from any major angle and then put it right in the middle, and it'll give you yet another ingot. So a total of 3 of those gunmetal gray ingots. The leftover pieces include a couple small prints and an extra blue flame, as well as an extra ice skate piece, so you could use the 2 in total in the set and create Mandalorians on Ice, the revival show. The sticker sheet, as you can see, had a fair number of items on it for a set of this size. I paid $30 US for this set, and I don't feel too bad about that. I feel like I got a decent value for my money here. I don't know if everybody's going to agree with that. I definitely feel like this gives you less stuff, less built-up stuff than some of the other $30 small scene sets, but I feel like some of the parts are a little bit more premium, a little bit more valuable to me personally, and the figures are also more valuable than is the standard, than is the average. Amongst Lego figures and amongst Lego Star Wars figures as well. Generally speaking, I feel like a lot of this is done well. I feel like it's captured well for the small number of pieces that are included here. There are some things that I can nitpick about, which I already have. The thing that I like least is just this offset. It bugs me way more than it should. Way more than it should. And then beyond that, the helmet for the Mandalorian Din Djarin is getting worse over time somehow. And then, Lego's description of this has some obvious errors in it. But just generally speaking, at the very least, it's a nice little scene. And even I think for folks who just want the figures, which is not everybody. A lot of people are like, literally everyone who wants to buy this wants to buy it only for the figures. That's not true. That's simply not true. But even for folks who just want to buy it for figures and maybe might build up one small section of it, use some of the rest of the stuff for just spare parts and stuff, you still aren't paying too much, I feel, for the number of figures that you get. It still seems to be reasonable. So that's probably the main operating principle and term here. It's just reasonable. The whole thing is just reasonable. So overall, I'm satisfied with it. Let me know what you think, though, including if you disagree with me about some of the specifics about the minifigures. If the offset here doesn't bother you at all, it would be interesting to hear. As I was building this live earlier, I heard a bunch of people that had built this and found that to be super annoying and super disruptive. But then I think to many folks, it won't matter at all. It's interesting, though, with that Lego took pictures specifically for their official shots that disguise that offset. They don't show it from the side. They show it in ways that make it look like it's perfectly lined up, or you couldn't tell if you didn't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.